Welcome to another wacky, wild edition of Wake 'em Up Wednesday. I am your host, Jake the. So it looks like I had a little bit of a technical difficulty the first try starting the stream. So we're going to give it a second try. Hopefully this one goes better. I can see all my comments showing up now. So hopefully everything should be fixed. And away we go. Welcome back to another Wake 'em Up Wednesday. Tonight we're going to be breaking down the Jim Carrey replacement theory. So I hope you guys are ready for that. And I got to say, it's pretty crazy. Everyone talking about Jim Carrey possibly being replaced. This is a bit of a niche topic usually. I'm usually the only one talking about celebrities being replaced. Not very many people are making content about celebs being replaced. But here we are. Suddenly now you look around, everyone's talking about Jim Carrey possibly being replaced by an imposter. We're going to go over all the theories. We're going to break it down here tonight. Hope you guys are ready to have some fun. And away we go. All right. So we're going to kick it off with the first super chat of the night from RY. He says, "What's up, Jake? I will be listening while on the road. Super chats ahead of time incoming." Thank you very much, RY, for the first super chat of the night. All right. And also the second super chat coming in from RY. He says, "Land on the Moon guy asks Press Secretary Roseanne a hard-hitting question about Iran. In her usual fashion, Roseanne is rude to him." All right, let me see what we can do here. "I have to ask new Press Secretary Roseanne a very hard-hitting question. Roseanne, do you view Iran as a serious military threat to the United States of America?"
Well, that's a fucking stupid question that only a commie would ask. Everybody knows that, Iran is full of nothing but a bunch of libtards. And, everyone in Iran probably voted for Kamala Harris. So that's why their country fucking sucks so much dick. So, I fully support Trump's decision to bomb the shit out of Iran. In fact, it won't be long before Iran's wiped off the map, and Trump's going to be dropping the bomb on those fucking commies any minute, and I fully support his decision.
"Thank you for answering my question."
"Yeah, no problem, you fucking commie."
There you go. Roseanne being rude to the Land on the Moon guy. That's how that would happen. RY says, "Trump invites nano drone expert Richie from Boston to the White House to have a fireside chat on the topic of nano drones and Bible vape juice." All right, let's see what we got here. So I am very proud to announce we have a new expert who's going to be joining our team here at the White House. He's going to be part of my cabinet now. We're going to be welcoming a nano drone expert, the world-renowned Richie from Boston. I got to tell you, in this country, everything is running better than ever. It is the hottest country in the world, but we do have this one problem: Chinese nano drones. Now, before it becomes an even bigger problem, I'm bringing in this expert who's not only going to eradicate all of the Chinese nano drones, but quite frankly, we're going to make China pay a hefty price, all right? We're fixing to unleash some of our American nano drones, which are going to fly up all of the Chinese anuses. But I'm going to let Richie from Boston tell you more about how he is going to rid this country once and for all of these deadly Chinese nanobots. Richie?
Thank you very much, Mr. Trump. I appreciate being here. This is a very distinguished honor to accept this position. Now, as you know, I have developed a 100% organic Bible vape juice, and it rids your body completely of Chinese nano drones. Now, with the help of President Trump and a whole lot of Trumptricity, we are going to create enough Bible vape juice for every man, woman, and child, and you will all be able to vape and eradicate all the Chinese nanodrones from your body forever. This is Richie from Boston. Like, share, and subscribe, or don't.
Hey, quiet. We're trying to stream now. Ralph heard someone outside the office and then he started growling. It's okay. It's okay. No one's going to get us. You're fine. You're fine. All right. There you go. Trump getting invited to the White House. RY coming in with another super chat. Wow, this guy. Can't thank you enough, RY, for your support of the channel and all your comedic requests. It's a fun way to get the show started. RY says, Trump, and oh wait, I just read that one. He says, Trump has an official swearing-in ceremony, hiring Richie from Boston in his cabinet as head of Nanodrone Task Force. So, as I already told you, Richie is going to be the head of the Nanodrone Task Force. That's the official title. And nobody does a better job at ridding anuses of nanodrones than Richie from Boston. Quite frankly, that's why I hired him. And so I have all the faith in the world that he's going to do a wonderful job. And before the end of 2026, you're going to see all of the nanodrones completely gone from everyone's anuses. And you know who we're going to make pay for the whole thing? China. They're going to pay a hefty price. We're going to unleash American nano drones. All right. What they're not expecting is our American nano drones not only going to fly up their Chinese anuses, they're going to release a new form of American AIDS in their Chinese anuses, which they are not currently expecting. And they aren't going to have enough time to develop anything to stop it. All right. What? What's going on now? I don't even know. That doesn't even make sense. I doubt that's going to happen. Big Money Bob doing the Lord's work and gifting Jake the Awake memberships. Thank you, Big Money Bob. I appreciate that. RY requests Jim Carrey floating in space. Oh boy. We're going to start the Jim Carrey stream with Jim Carrey floating in space, huh? Let me see if I can pull this off here. Let me tell you a little something. Smoking. Somebody stop me. Lehu, sir. Man, you are one pathetic loser. Let's throw another shrimp on the barbie. This pen, which I hold in my hand, is this pen, which I hold in my hand, is this pen, which I hold in my hand while floating in space, is really black. Man, why can't I tell a lie? There you go. Jim Carrey floating in space. I had to think of all the Jim Carrey catchphrases I could think of while pretending to float. There you go. Phew. All right. Here we go. We're getting the show started, you guys. Getting it started. Dcran 4D says, Jake, wake up Wednesday with a what's up. All right. Let me make sure everything's working on my watch page. And we will kick off the official what's up for Wake 'em Up Wednesday. And I haven't done one in a while. And since it's a Jim Carrey breakdown, we're going to be talking about Jim Carrey, who's considered like one of the best physical comedians ever. I guess I really got to go for it, right? All right. Here we go. The greatest was up anyone's ever heard in the history of the world. Who was up? Whew. All right. Up. There we go. Whew, haven't done one of those in a while. Just in case anyone's wondering why we do that. Well, see, if I don't continue that tradition, then the tradition dies out. And people enjoy when I do that, so they pay me to do it, so I continue to do it. That's why it's still a thing. So everybody thank DCran4D for the What's Up donation. All right. And I thank you as well. Hi, Rose. Hi, Insane in the Brain. Nice to see all you guys here tonight. All right. Let me make sure I got caught up on, it looks like I had a few more super chats come in. I'm going to get caught up on super chats, and we will officially start the show. Whew. Man, that really took the breath out of me. That was a workout. All right. Mike 6 coming in with a very generous donation says, "Yo, Jake, Jim Carrey has nano AIDS. Looking forward to a great show." So I've been dealing with these freaking nano AIDS in my ass. In fact, let me show you exactly where they are. I've got nano AIDS in my ass. Get inside there and fix them. Where's Richie from Boston? I need him to fix my nano AIDS with this Bible vape juice. Richie from Boston, put your Bible vape juice in my ass and rid me of the Chinese nano drones. Let me tell you a little something. All right. There you go. Jim Carrey with the nano AIDS. Whew, shit, this physical comedy stuff's tiring. Whew. DCran4D says, Trump talking to both Carries to determine which is the real one, while Roseanne Barr telling Trump they are the same person, you idiot. So we need to get to the bottom of this supposed rumor that Jim Carrey has been replaced. So what we have here, we believe we have the Jim Carrey imposter, and we also have the real Jim. So if we could just have both of you say some of your catchphrases. Real Jim, what's your catchphrase?
Somebody stop me.
All right. Imposter Jim. Well, I wrote it and I produced it, and then I realized, man, they're talking 100 miles an hour. I'm dead. Okay, clearly the first Jim is definitely the real Jim. Nobody could impersonate this man. Clearly the other man is an imposter. So what we're going to do now is we're going to send him to China.
Well, I can't really tell the difference, you know. They both sound the same to me. It looks like they're like, you know, like twin brothers or something. I honestly can't tell the difference at all. You have to be a fucking commie or an idiot to think there's a difference.
All right. There you go. crazy stuff happening tonight. Whew. Man. Whew. What a way to start the show, huh? All right, I think I'm all caught up on super chats now, and then we can officially dive into this this Jim Carrey subject, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have been patiently waiting for. All right, yeah, looks like I got all the super chats knocked out. And thank you again, Big Money Bob. I see that you've got you've sent out 5 Jake the Awake memberships again. Thank you very much for that. All right, thank you to everybody kicking us off with super chat donations tonight. You guys are such an awesome audience. Holy cow. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and start off with my video. And I'll give you guys commentary to my own video, and then we'll see what the update is on this Jim Carrey being replaced business. So just in case anyone hasn't seen it, which I'm sure most of you have, I put out a video 5 days ago. It did surprisingly well. Got more views than I was expecting, so that's nice. So I'll give you guys some commentary along with the video, and I'll pause it at some key moments, and we'll talk about it. And I will be pulling up your guys' comments, of course, because I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, or what you guys have to say. Have you seen the recent pictures and videos of Jim Carrey? Suddenly, Jim Carrey is no longer looking like the Jim you might remember in your head. He's got a new look. In fact, headlines are saying Jim looks unrecognizable. And people are asking, is this really Jim Carrey, or is this some sort of imposter? Those of you who are awake to what goes on the world stage, celebrities get replaced all the time. And it looks like Jim Carrey may have been the latest casualty of celebrity replacement.
And prediction. Oh, loved it. Loved it. It's so beautiful. And having Michelle, Camilla Capone, that was also amazing. It was just a brilliant evening, Really brilliant evening. Oh my gosh. Marshall Malaber was off the hook. I mean, I can't believe he committed to doing all that. Jim, now I'm close. Can you sit here? Now what are you going to do? Now what are you doing? Jim, you got the golden shot right there.
Right here, look, he's flipping the bird. All right. So, first thing I noticed was that the nose had like an orange tint, and then the face itself, it didn't look just puffy. It looked almost artificial, but the eyes, it really stuck out to me. And this is a screenshot I took right when I found the video. So apparently they've even went and darkened up the eyes on a lot of the imposter Jim Carreys out there. They've went and made the eyes darker. But I took this screenshot and stuck these two side by side right here. And so this version of Jim Carrey has these light colored eyes, and then around the eyes, it just looks very strange. It looks very mask-like, right? So I initially, when I saw this, came to the conclusion that it's an imposter wearing a mask. Jim Carrey's been replaced. They've replaced other celebrities. If they can replace Dave Chappelle or Eminem or Beyonce or Britney Spears or whoever, then they can replace Jim Carrey. Now, I was a bit shocked by the outpour from the public. And perhaps they underestimated how many people were going to notice and insinuate that perhaps this is an imposter, or perhaps that's part of their plan. But I've noticed all the mainstream outlets are saying, no, that is Jim. It's definitely the real Jim. And they lead you down the path to where the conclusion is that he must have got plastic surgery and Botox. So I'm noticing all of the mainstream outlets are basically leading people to their conclusion that they want you to think, is that he just got some plastic surgery and Botox. I'm Rigged says, can you do Mag and Egan floating in space, harness and all? Oh, geez. I got to do two guys now. Let me tell you something, people. There is no such thing as a Jim Carrey. He's never been a real man. He's always been a robot. Jim Carrey has always been an animatronic robot, people. It's a dumb shit to fool the masses. He never was a real person. No real person could make those faces. Let me tell you something, people. Only an animatronic robot can make those faces. It's quite the same as what I would believe. See, I've been floating up here with Mag for quite some time here on the International Space Station. We've both come to realize Jim Carrey never was a real man. That's what I just said. Thank you for reiterating what I had to tell the people, Max. There is no such thing as a Jim Carrey. You need to wake yourself up right now. Hit you with the bam. We're gone. All right. There you go. Mag and Max Egan floating in space. There you go. Talking about Jim Carrey, of course. Whew. All right. Where was I? So yeah, I noticed that the public reaction to this one was a lot more so than who reacted to Dave Chappelle being replaced. Because some people noticed Dave Chappelle got replaced. Some people made content about it, commented about it, but most people just thought, okay, I guess that's Dave now. Or yeah, that's the same old Dave. So perhaps they were thinking it would be similar to that some people would notice, but they would just accept that that's how Jim is. But there's been quite a few people thinking that Jim was replaced by an imposter, maybe more than they had anticipated for. Or perhaps they're setting that conspiracy theory, so to speak, out there so that they can debunk it, fake debunk it, I should say, by claiming it is the real Jim, and that's just how he looks now. Conditioning the public into thinking that if you ever see a celebrity look radically different, they haven't been replaced. They just got plastic surgery and Botox. So I think they might be conditioning the public using Jim Carrey as a test to see, like, okay, if we can wheel somebody out looking radically different and just assure them that it's the real person, they haven't been replaced, and that they just had some work done on their face, then that means from now on, every celebrity you see, you're going to think, oh, well, they must have had plastic surgery and Botox. So I've noticed all of the mainstream outlets are doubling down that for sure is the real Jim on the right. But there's also this report from a Hollywood makeup artist that he pretended to be Jim Carrey. We're going to get into that next. I'm Rig says, you do the best Aussie impressions I've ever seen and heard. God bless you. Well, thanks, mate. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie. Let's not. All right. Thank you very much, I'm Rigged, for the multiple super chats. All right. So let's finish this real quick.
Now, not only does it not look like the original Jim Carrey that we started with, the voice and the personality seem a bit off. I mean, yeah, sure, it kind of looks like Jim. It kind of sounds like Jim. But there's something clearly off about this new version of Jim Carrey. And I'm not the only one pointing it out. There are several headlines and news stories talking about how Jim Carrey now looks unrecognizable. Not
all right. I got a couple super chats that came in. One asking about archaics, and then another pointing at Jim's eyelashes. Let me pull these up real quick. Hillbilly Hank with a donation says, Archaic sends his regard, Jake. I would like to invite
the one and only Jake the Awake to come on my program, and we would like to discuss this whole notion of Jim Carrey being replaced, because what I think is going on is that we live in a simulation, and in this current simulation, Jim Carrey got too much Botox, and so I have a difference of opinion, and I would like to invite Jake the Awake on to have a debate and or a discussion while I drink my bourbon whiskey and my coffee, brother.
All right, there you go. A little Archaics inviting me on his show, which I, of course, would decline. Nathaniel Arias says, no eyelashes, robotic and unnatural, strange times. So, yeah, the mannerisms of Jim are off. The voice is off. So it wasn't just the look that changed. So people that might just see a photo but didn't actually take the time to watch the video of him speaking, they might think it's just his look that changed. But I would argue that the voice was off and the mannerisms were off. It didn't seem like Jim Carrey, right? It seemed like an imposter wearing a mask, somebody pretending to be Jim Carrey and not even doing that great of a job. That's what it seemed like to me. So that's what I reported on when I first saw it. And then within a day, it blew up and everyone was talking about it. And I was a bit taken back by the fact that, okay, I have this like niche topic where I talk about celebrities being replaced. And now suddenly everybody on YouTube is talking about what I talk about. So I didn't expect everyone to be talking about this. I was just reporting on it like I normally would, saying, hey, it looks like they replaced Jim Carrey, right? And I figured that the sheeple are so dumb that hardly anyone's even going to like think that it's possible that he could be replaced. And people are just going to think that he got plastic surgery and got older. So even in my video, I said, oh, people are going to just give him a pass and say he got older and got plastic surgery. But clearly this is a different person. I wasn't expecting so many people to agree with me, but then for it to be like a subject that blows up across the entire internet and all the social media, and tons of people are saying they don't think it's the real Jim Carrey. So I was a bit taken back by, a subject that's usually talked about in a very small crowd here, right? A niche topic is now everywhere. So then I had to wonder like, okay, so they're making this go viral on purpose, but for what reason, right? Like, why are they making this one so obvious? And I really think the reason is they want people to associate a radical different look of a celebrity with plastic surgery and or Botox. They don't want you to think that they actually got replaced. And I'm going to go ahead and get to all the other theories as well. There's people thinking maybe Jim got cloned. I'm going to go over that theory. Some people are saying that it's Jim in a mask playing a joke on everyone. So there's some people thinking that Jim is just joking with everyone, pulling an Andy Kaufman style joke. That doesn't really make sense either, because that would entail that the original Jim's going to pop back out looking regular and tell us that he played a joke on us, which hasn't happened yet. In fact, Jim hasn't come out and addressed this on camera. So the fact that Jim hasn't come out and addressed any of this outcry over his new look, he hasn't come on camera and said, yes, you guys, this is really me, or, oh, I played a joke on you. No. So the fact that we're left with nothing right now leads me to think that this is an imposter wearing a Jim Carrey mask, but they're trying to get everybody to believe that a simpler explanation is true, that it is the real Jim and he just got plastic surgery and Botox. All right. And yeah, no, I've seen people point out that there's no eyelashes on this new version of Jim here. So thank you for the super chats from Hillbilly Hank and Nathan Arias.
This new version of Jim Carrey, and I'm not the only one pointing it out. There are several headlines and news stories talking about how Jim Carrey now looks unrecognizable. Not only that, Fans are wondering if this was an imposter Jim Carrey or someone wearing a mask. And of course, as we all know, Jim Carrey starred in the movie The Mask.
Took on a pretty big challenge trying to do my speech in French. So, I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy. But, it's, then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards. And I was like, I'm dead. But
I'm dead, right? So a lot of people caught that when he says, I'm dead. Now, here's the thing. Do I think that Jim Carrey is dead? No, I don't think Jim Carrey is dead. So with this replacement theory comes a lot of other bullshit that people want to tack on. Like, oh, Hollywood took him out. Hollywood killed him and replaced him. No, not so fast. My thoughts are Jim Carrey is part of the Hollywood beast system and has been for a long time. And he's made the Hollywood movie makers a ton of money. So a lot of people have profited off of Jim Carrey. And so he is definitely a member of the big club. He's never really spoken out and told any hard-hitting truths against the establishment or against Hollywood. And so I don't count him going on the Jimmy Kimmel show and making a triangle with his hands and sticking his tongue through it and making a joke when talking about the Illuminati and Jimmy being a part of it. He made the whole thing seem like a big joke. And so I don't think for a second that Jim Carrey is some sort of truth teller that got taken out. I think Jim Carrey is part of the big club. And so my guess is that Jim either is playing a new role or multiple other roles, and then they're testing out this new imposter Jim so that Jim doesn't have to worry about being Jim. Jim can play these other roles. Or theory number 2, and I like this one the most, Jim sold the rights to his name and likeness to the Hollywood beast system, the government, some corporate entity. I don't know. But let's say if Jim wants to stop being Jim and sell his likeness, perhaps there's a number that they can agree on where they take over the rights to Jim's name and his image and likeness, and then Jim gets to leave the public eye and go retire. Maybe Jim gets to retire on Celebrity Island and no longer have to fulfill the duties of being Jim anymore. So I often wonder if certain celebrities get made an offer like, hey, we'll give you X amount of money. We want to own your name and your likeness, and you're going to fuck off and leave the country. And you're never to do anything with your name ever again because we're going to own your name. And then we're going to insert this imposter who's going to be the new you. And so if there's celebrities out there who get sick of being super famous, because I'm sure it probably, I would reckon after a while gets to be a pain in the ass to be super famous. So perhaps some of these celebrities get to a point, maybe they want to retire, leave, and never have to be bothered again. And maybe they can get a gigantic, ungodly payday if they sell off their image and name to an imposter to use. So I don't know where they go once they get replaced. So I couldn't tell you if there's a hidden celebrity island where Jim Carrey gets to hang out or with all the other retired celebrities. Maybe there is. There's no way for me to prove it. And so there's no way for me to know whether Jim is alive or dead. But my guess is Jim's probably still alive and either playing another role, or maybe he's retired and now the imposter is going to be the new Jim. And they're getting everybody used to imposter Jim. So there's a few other theories being floated. Another one people are saying is that Jim Carrey got cloned. I don't like to use the word clone because that insinuates they grew a whole nother Jim Carrey and then stuck him out there to pretend to be Jim Carrey. So I think you can clone a human being. However, I don't think you can grow a Jim Carrey that looks almost like Jim Carrey, but with a puffier face that doesn't quite act like Jim Carrey and then train it to try and act like Jim Carrey. It just, that doesn't make as much sense as having an imposter who wears a hyper realistic mask. So imposter in a hyper realistic mask, or an imposter who's had some sort of cosmetic surgery to be made to look sort of like that person, or like that person has had cosmetic surgery. So in this case, you wheel out an imposter who people will assume, okay, it must be Jim Carrey and he had plastic surgery or Botox. So I think that the cover that they want everyone to think is that it's this original celebrity. They haven't been replaced, and it's just, they're just getting botched surgery and Botox and whatnot. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of layers to this. And so whenever someone says, oh, I think Jim Carrey got cloned, then that means, like, do they think that they grew an entire another human to like pretend to be Jim Carrey? I think that would be way more difficult to pull off than getting a imposter to just wear a mask and pretend to be Jim Carrey. So what do you guys think? You guys tell me your thoughts on this one. JT says he looks younger. So most people would argue that he doesn't look better, right? And so you see a lot of celebrities supposedly getting surgery, and then they look more like a deranged, like a deformed alien, right? So you look at some of these celebs, and I'll show you some other examples of celebrities that supposedly got plastic surgery. They look like deformed aliens. So we have to ask ourselves, are celebrities who have a ton of money, are they really choosing to get surgery which makes them look like a deformed alien and makes their fans gasp when they see them? Like, are celebrities who are that rich really so crazy and out of touch that they think that they look better by doing this? I don't think so. It never made sense to me that any celebrity who has a ton of money is going to go get some sort of shitty plastic surgery which makes them look like a deformed alien. If you can afford the best plastic surgery in the world, shouldn't that make you look better and not worse? And if the best plastic surgeons in the world aren't they going to like do a procedure that makes you look better, right? And if they botch and they make you look shittier, then celebrities wouldn't use those doctors. So my thing is, like, why are all these celebrities getting this supposed botched surgery? And who are these surgeons who are getting allowed to butcher all these celebrities? It doesn't make sense to me that people who get that rich and famous just decide to take the risk on getting that surgery, and then it all goes bad, and then everyone's gasping at how freakish and ghoulish they look, and meanwhile they think they look great. It just doesn't make sense. You guys get what I'm saying? It doesn't add up. So it's like the best plastic surgery in the world should improve your looks, and no celebrity, especially not Jim Carrey, should be taking the risk at ruining his face. And so I'm thinking, okay, would a celebrity like Jim Carrey take a risk and ruin his own face? Like, if they're like, oh, there's this minute chance that you might lose the ability to use your facial muscles like you used to, and you won't be able to make all those funny faces anymore if everything goes wrong, right? Wouldn't he be like, oh, well, fuck no. I mean, here's the deal. If you gave me unlimited money to have plastic surgery, and there was a slight chance I could end up looking like a deranged, freakish alien, I wouldn't do it. And you wouldn't do it either, right? So who are we really to believe all these celebrities are choosing to get this plastic surgery, which makes them look worse? But that's what they want us to believe. They literally want us to believe that if you are famous and you live in Hollywood, you just go crazy and you choose to do that to yourself. Not buying it. Not fucking buying it. Oh, I got a super chat that just came in from Anthony Flat Earth. No message attached, but just a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Anthony Flat Earth. I appreciate that. And one coming in from Tammy Z or Tamise. I'm thinking it's Tammy Z. A super sticker. Sweet. And the super sticker is a little pear guy giving me the thumbs up. All right. And then just before that, I had another super chat with no message attached. Let me thank that person real quick, and we'll get on with the show. Lance Bigger with a super chat, no message attached. Thank you, Lance Bigger. I appreciate all the super chat love tonight, you guys. You're awesome. D. Cran coming in with a super chat says, they think we are stupid sheep that will believe anything, not even close to Jim Carrey. What an embarrassment. So I'm going to show you some of the mainstream reports, the official sources. They're all claiming that this is Jim Carrey, and he just looks a little different. And then they will lead you to the conclusion that he must have just had some work done, right? So I think they're conditioning the public that any celebrity that now looks wildly different, just assume it's plastic surgery. Don't assume they got cloned or replaced or anything crazy. Thank you, DCran4D. And got one from NW360 Luke Nessmonster. He said, did it to Gucci Mane and Kodak Black. You might be right. I don't keep up with those rapper guys. So any like newer rapper who got replaced, I wouldn't know because I don't keep up with all the new rappers and whatnot. But I'll take your word for it. So guys, there's a shitload of celebrities that have already been replaced. You know, most notably guys like Dave Chappelle and Eminem. Right? I've talked about that. Joe Biden was replaced. You know, for his entire presidency was played by multiple actors. Some even think Jim Carrey played the role of Joe Biden on a few occasions, at least once or twice. So when it comes to celebrity replacements, I wouldn't put it past them to replace Jim Carrey and then make it obvious, but then just ensure people that it's for sure Jim Carrey and don't be stupid. Don't be crazy and think he got replaced. It's for sure Jim Carrey. That's what all the official sources are claiming. Thank you very much for that super chat. Doxological Thinker said the Office scene where Dwight was fooled by Asian Jim used to be comedy. Now it is reality. Where Dwight was fooled by Asian Jim. The Office scene. I'm not sure what you're talking about, bro. Are you talking about the show The Office? Asian Jim. I'm not sure who he's talking about or what he's talking about. I'm confused.
Something is clearly off with this new version of Jim. And when I look into the eyes of this new version of Jim Carrey, personally, it looks like an imposter wearing a hyper-realistic mask.
So a lot of the pictures online have been darkened, but this is a screenshot I took and blew it up. And I want to point out that it just looks really mask-like. When you blow it up like this, you can see this orange tint on the nose, and there's no sweat pores at all, right? It looks like a mask when you get this close. It really does. It doesn't even look like a filter. Right? This looks like a fucking mask. These creases, the orange nose, the eyes aren't the right color, the fold of skin above them. I just don't see Jim at all. And so some people were saying, oh, it's Jim in a mask playing a joke on us. That doesn't make sense. Like, what does Jim have to gain by tricking people into thinking that maybe he got replaced? There are other celebrities that have been replaced. Right? And you don't see Jim coming out and talking about other celebrities have been replaced. You don't see Jim ever dropping that truth bomb about celebrities that he knows have been replaced by imposters, right? So I don't think for a second that Jim was taken out for telling too much truth. I don't think for a second that this is Jim in a mask pretending. I think this is some other person in a mask.
In my opinion. Now, I am well aware that there are a ton of people out there who will think that the notion of a hyper-realistic mask is totally crazy. In fact, most people don't even know that hyper-realistic masks even exist.
Oh, I think somebody's going with the Alexis Stone shit. We're going to get to the Alexis Stone shit here in a minute. Jake, you're going on about what has already been confirmed by the FX artist Alexis Stone. They were even signing autographs right-handed. Jim is left-handed. Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. So this Alexis Stone makeup artist doesn't show any proof that he was Jim Carrey that night. And all of the mainstream outlets are saying for sure it was the real Jim Carrey and that this Alexis Stone guy is lying. So I'm not going to take the bait. They put this Alexis Stone story out where this makeup artist is saying he was Jim Carrey. And they get people like this person right here, user, to run with it and then spread that rumor. I'm not falling for it. In fact, I'm here to debunk that shit tonight. Y'all, if you're having fun, hit the thumbs up. I'm not here to lead you astray. I'm here to lead you to the truth to the best of my ability. And I did some research on this, so I'm going to break down all the different options here tonight. Hit the thumbs up button if you guys are enjoying this stream.
So I already know the most common excuse I'm going to hear in the comment section of this video is, he got older. He got plastic surgery. That's always the excuse from the normies whenever a celebrity gets replaced and looks radically different. The TV watching sheeple will just automatically write the whole thing off as plastic surgery. Yeah, well, the plastic surgery doesn't explain why Jim sounded different and his personality was off. Does plastic surgery also change a person's voice and personality? No, it does not. So if that's going to be the excuse that people want to give, I've already heard that excuse with Dave Chappelle. I've heard that excuse with Eminem. I've pointed out for years when celebrities get replaced, and always the most common excuse I hear is, he got older, he had plastic surgery.
I don't think another intelligence agency in the world devoted the time and the budget to disguise like we did. Disguise.
All right, so the last few minutes of my video, I show the CIA declassification of the hyper-realistic mask. So we'll watch a few minutes of that. But first, I got a super chat from JB. Says, hey, Jake, Andy Kaufman just disappeared in the early 80s. Wonder if he played another role. Hey, maybe he played multiple different roles after that. I couldn't tell you for sure. You know, I haven't went through all the different celebs over the years and tried to place Andy Kaufman and Andy Kaufman's face in their body. But yeah, for sure, man. Andy Kaufman could have definitely been a death faker who went on to play another role. Definitely a possibility I wouldn't rule out. I don't have any proof of that, but I wouldn't dismiss it at all. Thank you for the super chat donation.
In a form of body armor. In the Spy Museum, we call the mask a 5-second mask. They proved invaluable. You could change your ethnicity. You could change your gender. You could change your nationality. And if you needed to, you could actually become another person. The masks were full-face latex masks. It allows you to furrow your brow. It allows you to squint your eyes. It allows you to speak. You talk. The specific mask we're talking about would fit just one person. The first thing we do is we make a face impression. If you've been to a dentist that never had a dental impression, it's the same thing. It's just your face, not your teeth. So they would have added to his face. They could rearrange his face a bit and give him a new face that would fit perfectly over his real face. The mask is the culmination of a lot of work that we did at CIA over a period of, I'd say, 10 years developing that technology. It was a big challenge to come up with something that finally actually animated and worked to really fool a person closer than 3-4 feet from you. But we did. The fact that we're allowed to show it tells me the CIA have moved on. I don't know what they're doing. I should know. I'm dying to know, but I don't know.
Relax. You'll get to see it all later on.
So I'm proud to show people how good we got to that point and let them imagine. So what are they doing now?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what sort of masks the CIA is using today. It amazes me whenever I bring up the fact that many celebrities are nothing more than a mask-wearing imposter. People will think that's crazy talk. That's not possible. There's no such thing as a mask that someone can wear and pretend to be someone else and get away with it on television. No way. I've been saying it for years. I think President Joe Biden is a series of actors wearing a mask, and we get some CGI deepfake Joe as well. So if the CIA is using these masks and Hollywood is using these masks, that basically leaves every single celebrity, every political figure, every single puppet on the world stage. You have to ask yourself, is that a real person? Or is it an actor wearing a mask playing a character? You may be shocked to find out certain world-famous celebrities have not only been replaced, but they may have never even existed in the first place. And I would imagine by now that they have a mask for every single celebrity, politician, you name it, across the board. Anybody with any sort of influence whatsoever, you better believe there's a mask out there. And at any point, somebody else can put that mask on and pretend to be that person. So now that you know the truth behind these CIA masks, let's see if you can keep your eyes peeled and spot actors and celebrities wearing these masks now that you know the information.
All right. So I have made content about celebrities being replaced for years, and it's always been sort of like a niche topic that you don't hear much about. And now suddenly it's everywhere. Everyone talking about how different Jim Carrey looks and whether or not he's been replaced. So the CIA has come out and declassified that they have used hyper-realistic masks in the past. And so you can only imagine what they have now. They probably have much better masks, right? In fact, I'm sure they do. And so they might just be conditioning the public that when they replace a celebrity, even if they look radically different and you notice, they're going to go ahead and force you to the conclusion that they must have just chose to mess up their face with some plastic surgery and Botox, right? Couldn't be that they got replaced and are wearing a mask. So D-Cran says the real Jim Carrey is playing another person, so someone has to play his part. We are not stupid sheep in this room. So I think that whoever played Jim Carrey that night didn't do that great of a job, and it was very obvious. But I also think that could be done on purpose so that whenever they replace any celebrity, you just assume, well, I guess it's because they got surgery, right? So they might be testing their limits with how radically different they can make a celebrity and still get the public to go along with the narrative that that's the same old person it always was, with just a little bit of facial work done. All right. Thank you very much, D-Cran, for the super chats, buddy. I appreciate that. And Curtis Nelson said, not Jim. I just got new VA glasses. Oh, so you can see extra good now with your new glasses, huh? So you know for sure it's not Jim. If he didn't have his glasses on, he wouldn't know for sure. But since he's got his glasses on, he sees real good. So he knows that's not the same Jim. Thanks, Curtis. Decran with another donation said Andy Kaufman became Nicolas Cage. I've never heard that before, but they do kind of look alike, don't they? You know what? I'm one of those people that I don't dismiss the notion of this person being that person. I'm like, you know what? Maybe that's true. Most people would automatically think you're a crazy fuck for saying that. They'll be like, dude, you must be absolutely retarded for thinking that, right? But meanwhile, I'm like, maybe you're right. Kevalev with a donation said, Nicolas Cage is Marilyn Manson. Oh, shit. So now that would also have to mean that Marilyn Manson is Andy Kaufman. But I also heard a rumor that Marilyn Manson was Paul from the Wonder Years. But then I also heard that rumor was debunked. So now I have to sit and wonder if Andy Kaufman is Marilyn Manson and also Nicolas Cage. I've been accused of being 4 or 5 different people and it totally not be true. But in this case, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I would need to see some more evidence before I'm ready to jump on board completely, though. But I won't rule it out. How's that? Thank you, Kevalev, for the donation. All right. So let's get to this makeup artist, Alexis Stone. And a lot of people fell for this report that this makeup artist was a Jim Carrey impersonator at this award ceremony in France. But I found a bunch of different reports claiming that that is not true. So we'll try and get to the bottom of that right now.
He wrote, what if Jim Carrey wasn't actually Jim Carrey on Hollywood's biggest night in France? On March 1, the internet completely lost its mind after legendary makeup artist Alexis Stone made a shocking claim that he transformed into Jim Carrey for Carrey's February 26th appearance at the César Film Awards.
Okay, for those of you who haven't heard this, this is apparently a world-renowned makeup artist in Hollywood. And he is claiming that he was Jim Carrey at that award ceremony. But he claimed it on like Instagram, on social media. So I haven't seen this guy with his own face tell us that he pretended to be Jim Carrey. So far it's in like a Instagram post that went fucking viral. And now you have people here in my chat claiming that this guy pretended to be Jim Carrey. Not so fast.
Formed into Jim Carrey for Carrey's February 26th appearance at the César Film Awards. Yes, you heard that right. This all started when fans noticed something off about Jim Carrey on the red carpet in Paris. Social media quickly filled with comments calling him unrecognizable and even suggesting conspiracy theories. Then Alexis Stone dropped a bombshell on Instagram. Alexis Stone is Jim Carrey in Paris. He wrote, alongside 2 photos of Carrey at the event, plus an image showing a hyper-realistic mask, detailed teeth, and a dark wig matching Carrey's new straight black hairstyle.
Okay, so guys, an Instagram post in this picture right here of what looks like an AI fucking mask. That does not look like a hyper-realistic Jim Carrey mask. That looks like a fucking AI mask. That's a joke. So believe it or not, guys, all you got to do is just have this guy right here make an Instagram post. This fella makes an Instagram post, shows this, and claims he was Jim Carrey. And you know what? Millions of people took that and ran with it. Oh, that's why he looked different. That makes sense. And so there was a guy here with the name user XYZ, blah, 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 trying to push this narrative that this guy was Jim Carrey. And what was his proof? Probably this post.
Dark wig matching Carrey's new straight black hairstyle. And just like that, chaos. Some followers instantly believed it. Comments flooded in saying things like, I knew it! Something happened with my mans.
So there's people out there who, if they hear, oh, this makeup artist said it was him. Oh, that makes sense why Jim looked so different. So then they completely write off Jim being replaced. And instead it was this fun joke. It was this fun experiment that this makeup artist did. Meanwhile, it's just a fucking Instagram post. It's like, hey, buddy, show us you pretending to be Jim without the Jim makeup. Show us your Jim impression, and then show us you sitting in the fucking chair going through the process of becoming Jim. And in the middle of getting the makeup put on, do another impression of Jim. And then once you have all the makeup on, then do another impression of Jim. If we can see you do the same impression of Jim without the makeup, while putting on the makeup and with the makeup, and you show us the whole fucking process, then we'll believe the story. But I'm not going to take the bait that this motherfucker became Jim Carrey just because he made this post and showed this picture with this mask, right? Not falling for it.
And a dark wig matching Carrey's new straight black hairstyle. And just like that, chaos. Some followers instantly believed it. Comments flooded in saying things like, I knew it! Something happened with my mans. I knew that couldn't be him. Others joked that Jim Carrey was probably laughing out loud watching the internet spiral. But not everyone was convinced. Skeptics quickly fired back, saying Alexis never actually stepped out in public as Jim Carrey. Others said they'd only believe it once Stone releases his usual behind-the-scenes YouTube transformation video. A few even claimed the mask photo could have been AI generated.
Could have been AI generated? This is fake as fuck, dude. You can't put that on and then suddenly be Jim Carrey. That's fucking ridiculous. This is just look at it. This is fucking AI. And then, so we're supposed to believe this guy right here became Jim Carrey. Oh, okay. Well, wouldn't the real Jim Carrey have a problem with that? And so then people would say, oh, well, he must have gave this guy permission to go impersonate him. Wouldn't that ruin his credibility that he's sending impersonators to go pretend to be him and accept awards on his behalf? Like, there's nothing for Jim to gain by tricking people on his own accord that he was replaced, right? There's nothing for Jim to gain by sending this guy to impersonate him and trick his own fans into thinking that he ruined his face for his own shits and giggles. I don't believe that. And I don't believe that this guy became Jim Carrey either. I believe that these are guardrail stories.
YouTube transformation video. A few even claimed the mask photo could have been AI generated. One user wrote, that last photo is AI. Look at the two perfect plasticine looking teeth and Eiffel Tower in the window in the background. Staged AF. Other user wrote, not true. The last photo is AI. He's just trying to get attention out of all this speculation. And then there were the confused fans, with one viral comment screaming, I'm so fucking confused with the internet right now. Here's where the claim really starts to fall apart. Jim Carrey accepted an honorary award that night and delivered his entire acceptance speech in fluent French, while pulling off his iconic, exaggerated facial expressions. Expressions that, frankly, seem nearly impossible to perform convincingly while wearing.
I would argue that the imposter didn't pull off his iconic facial expressions and instead had completely different mannerisms and energy. And it came off like a guy trying to act like Jim Carrey. So I don't believe this report that this was and is the real Jim.
A prosthetic mask, even for someone as talented as Alexis Stone. Adding more context, Stone has previously spoken about identity and image, saying in 2023 that humans constantly replicate styles and appearances, questioning how personal identity really is if it can be recreated. He's also emphasized that his work goes beyond looks, focusing on energy, quirks, and presence. So was this the greatest makeup illusion ever, or just an intentional hoax designed to spark conversation? As of now, Jim Carrey's representatives haven't commented, but one thing's clear, whether real or fake, Alexis Stone absolutely succeeded in breaking the internet. So, what do you think? Was it
All right, so we get this like generic AI report. So then I wanted to see what the mainstream was saying. And so I found Entertainment Tonight, which is like a considered an official source, right? They're claiming it's for sure Jim. And so I'll show you guys this official in quotes report. And then we'll move on to we also got Penguin Zero reiterating that it is for sure Jim. So they're going as far as to have guys like Penguin Zero ridicule and shame anyone who suggests that perhaps Jim got replaced. So we'll get to that right after this video.
Merci à ma merveilleuse famille, à ma fille Jane et à mon petit-fils Jackson. Je vous aime maintenant et pour toujours.
Jim Carrey, is that you? Because the internet's convinced it's a doppelganger or even a clone.
There's magic in the universe.
Yeah, fans questioning if Jim's newish look is some sort of magic trick after the 64-year-old debuted longer locks, seemingly lighter eyes, and a fuller face at the Caesar Awards in Paris, where he was given a top honor.
Merci à ma sublime compagnie, Mina. Je t'aime, Mina.
That's Jim on stage thanking his daughter, grandson, and girlfriend, but internet sleuths just aren't having it. His updated appearance sparking a wild rumor that it was actually someone else who was there in Jim's place.
Let's do this.
Then Alexis Stone, a transformative makeup artist known for impersonating celebs in public, entered the chat, posting this likely AI image of a face mask and teeth, signaling to his 1.4
likely AI image. It's for sure AI. That is not a hyper-realistic mask of Jim that Alexis Stone wore. That's fucking retarded.
4 million Instagram followers, it was him impersonating Jim. But not so fast.
Ooh, somebody stop me.
A rep for Jim confirms to ET it was indeed just Jim who attended the award ceremony.
A rep for Jim said it was Jim, right? So Entertainment Tonight, they're considered an official source. They're claiming it for sure was Jim. A representative of Jim claimed it is for sure Jim, right? So this, I just wanted to show you guys this to show you what the mainstream is saying. The mainstream isn't tolerating any talks of him being replaced by an imposter or clone. And they aren't saying that this makeup artist is telling the truth either. So the mainstream is reporting that this Jim was the real Jim. Thank you very much, Davey D from the LaFleur Network for the super sticker. Looks like we got a red face. A red face that's smiling. What is that, like a little devil guy? Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. All right. And then I got another super chat that just now came in from Drew Stinson. And he said, I'm a believer of Paul McCartney being replaced in 66. I've also heard people saying Michael Jackson was replaced after the Pepsi commercial mishap. Yeah, I don't believe that the ending Wacko Jacko Michael Jackson that looked like some freakish ghoul, I don't believe that was the same little black boy that we started with. So yes, definitely they had different versions of Michael Jackson. And then by the end, they could probably have they could probably have a number of different people put on a Michael Jackson mask and be like, oh, Blanket, I want to climb a tree with Blanket. Me and Blanket are scared. We're going to climb a tree. Hey, this is Michael Jackson. Don't be ignorant. Right? Like, so they had this like Michael Jackson impersonator voice on South Park when they were impersonating his character on South Park. And it sounded almost like how Michael would sound normally, right? So even the the South Park impersonation of Michael sounded like the real fucking Michael, right? So at the end, it was like this freakishly white, ghoulish looking character. And so Michael Jackson was like the precursor to all these other celebrities getting deformed faces. So Michael was the first to be like this fully deformed, completely changed celeb. And now it's becoming more and more common that celebrities supposedly get this plastic surgery, which doesn't make sense that celebrities are wanting to ruin their own face. What makes sense is that they're being replaced and the plastic surgery is the cover. So I think they're using the plastic surgery to cover for when they get replaced. So when you notice that they look different, they can be like, yeah, it's the surgery. All right.
And if you need more proof, a representative from the Caesar Awards tells us Jim was there with his loved ones, longtime publicists, and 12 close members of his inner circle, and calls all the fuss online a non-issue.
I have to pinch myself, honestly. I mean, I'm the proof that, you know, manifestation, you know, is real. There.
Okay, so according to the mainstream outlets, it for sure is Jim. All right. So like I said, they're making it obvious that he looks different, but then they're corralling everybody back in to the reality that they want everyone to accept, the conclusion they want everyone to come to. He just got surgery, got a little work done on his face, no big deal. So they corral everybody in. So they shock you with the new Jim, but then they run all these reports assuring people that it's definitely the real Jim. And then they have this other report that this makeup artist pretended to be Jim, so that if you run with that, A, you look like a moron and you can be debunked. And then B, you're disregarding the replacement theory because you're acting like it's a one-off event where Jim was replaced by an imposter at just this one award ceremony. And it was done as a joke or an experiment. So they can get you to write off celebrities being replaced permanently by making you think it was just like this one-time joke. So it seems like they have people believing mostly that it was just some botched surgery and Botox. But there's a shitload of people out there that don't think that that was a real Jim. So they can trick those people into thinking maybe it was this makeup artist and get everybody all completely confused, right? Meanwhile, neither of those things are true. It wasn't Jim and it wasn't that makeup artist. D-Cran says almost 500 people watching, 191 likes. Hit the like button. It's free. Jake works hard. Yes, I would appreciate if everyone hit the like button. If you guys are enjoying what I'm doing here, hit the like button. It's easy, it's free, and it helps send the signal to YouTube that you guys dig what I'm doing, and then perhaps maybe they'll promote me to some more people. Right? It's worth a shot. If anything, it just looks good to see more thumbs up than less. So do it. If you're watching right now, take the 2 seconds to hit the thumbs up button. All right, let's move along to the next video about this Alexis character, and then we'll move on to Penguin Zero, who's going to ridicule and shame anyone who thinks that Jim got replaced, which makes me think he for sure got replaced. Nope. Wrong video. Oh yeah, here we go. The doctor video. So there's a plastic surgeon doctor guy. And so this is another reason why I think that they're trying to corral people to coming to the conclusion that it's just plastic surgery. They're having this doctor who people trust as a credible source, and he's going to give the Jim Carrey update. And this doctor got over 1 million views on this video. So we'll see what the doctor has to say.
Happened to Jim Carrey's face? Did he have a bunch of plastic surgery? Is this not Jim Carrey but makeup artist Alexis Stone? Or is it something more sinister? Let's get to the bottom of it. Yesterday I reported on this video of Jim Carrey showing that he looks quite a bit different after a recent award show in Paris. And people are speculating that maybe he had a bunch of plastic surgery, maybe he was replaced by an imposter Jim Carrey, and now a makeup artist is claiming that it's him, not Jim. On his Instagram page, the famous and brilliant makeup artist Alexis Stone is claiming that he is Jim Carrey in Paris. And he released this photo, which looks oddly AI generated, showing proof that it's him, showing the Eiffel Tower in the background. And this is blowing the minds of a lot of people, including celebrities like Megan Fox and JWoww. So is Jim Carrey teaming up with Alexis Stone to fool everybody? Well, Alexis is a brilliant makeup artist. You can see by this version of Jack Nicholson.
That doesn't really look like Jack Nicholson, though. Like, if I saw that person right there step out of a vehicle, I would be like, okay, that's obviously a fake Jack Nicholson.
And this version of Glenn Close.
And I would be like, okay, that's definitely a an ugly alien demonic version of Glenn Close. Definitely a Glenn Close imposter. I wouldn't believe either of those.
That the makeup artistry is quite impressive, but they don't look exactly like these celebrities. And this is actual footage of Jim Carrey from the French awards show. And if you take a look at his face, he does look different than the Jim Carrey we're used to, but not as extreme as the photo and the video that I just showed you as well. This does look like Jim Carrey, and it does not look like somebody wearing a bunch of makeup.
It sort of looks like Jim Carrey, but it also looks like an imposter in a mask, even more so. And then when the mannerisms don't match and the voice doesn't quite match, leads me down the path of thinking it's definitely not Jim Carrey.
Look like Jim Carrey. And here's Jim Carrey from about a year ago, looking basically the same as he does in Paris, except in Paris, he was holding his eyebrows up a bit more, or they were higher. So in my opinion, it does appear that Alexis Stone is trying to pull one on us, saying that this is not the real Jim Carrey and it's Alexis Stone.
So the doctor says it's not Alexis Stone. I agree that it's not that Alexis Stone guy, because if it was, why doesn't he show us proof? But I don't agree with the doctor that this is the original Jim Carrey.
This photo of Jim Carrey being shared online, including in my last video, does appear to most likely be either doctored or created by AI. Now in this video that I shared yesterday, you can see that there is obviously a filter on it, causing him to look like he doesn't have that many wrinkles.
So the doctor's claiming that Jim has a filter on his face. See how the doctor is, he's taking the shock and awe and he's bringing it down. Oh, don't worry, it's the same old Jim. It was just a filter. And this makeup artist, yeah, he's not really telling the truth. He's putting one on. So they calm down people's initial shock and awe, and they corral them to the conclusion that it's Jim, and he just looks a little different. And they have this doctor here with 5 million subs doing the same thing that the NFL doctor does. So the NFL, every time someone gets injured, any high-profile player gets fake injured, they have a fucking doctor with millions of subs who comes on and says, this injury is going to end the rest of his season and he's going to need arthroscopic surgery, blah, blah, blah. Right? So they have Brian Sutter, the NFL doctor, who's like a fake doctor. And it's basically, this is the same thing here. You got the doctor reassuring everyone that this is the real Jim.
So I stand by my earlier statement that I believe this is the real Jim Carrey, but he has had some plastic surgery. You can check out my last video on what plastic surgery I think that he's had.
All right. So there you go. So the doctor says he doesn't think that Alexis Stone guy's telling the truth. I don't think he's telling the truth either, but I don't agree with the doctor that it's the original Jim Carrey. So I think both those two things are not true. Curtis Nelson says Jim was on Mad TV. Well, I know he was on Saturday Night Live several different times. And yeah, he was on In Living Color. a long, long time ago. And of course, his movies from the 90s were very popular. So Jim has a very special place in people's hearts because he made so many people laugh. And so people remember Jim from their childhood or from when they were teenagers, and they remember those movies and how funny they were. And so this celebrity replacement hit people a lot harder than other celebs who've been replaced. And this just goes to show you that Jim is a much bigger superstar than even someone like Dave Chappelle or Eminem. That like Jim represents like a time in people's lives that they miss and they cherish, right? So Jim represents the 90s in a way. The 90s wacky zaniness you can associate with a lot of Jim's movies. And those were like his most iconic roles were those 90s movies when he was just fucking blowing up, each movie bigger than the last. And so I think that this celebrity replacement just hit people a lot harder, and they purposely made it more obvious. And I think that they're just training people that from now on, if a celebrity gets replaced, don't go thinking anything crazy like they got replaced or cloned. Just think of the more rational, sane conclusion that he just got a little bit of face work done, or she, right? So I'll show you some other examples of other celebrities like Simon Cowell or Kelly Osbourne, Sharon Osbourne, right? Who got completely different faces than they used to have. And people just accept that that's just how they look because of plastic surgery. So the outcry for Jim Carrey being replaced as an imposter or by an imposter wearing a mask, way more so than a lot of these other celebrities who have a completely different look. All right. And I think that just goes to show you that Jim Carrey is just a gigantic, recognizable star. And a lot of people still like Jim and enjoyed his old movies, that it was a bit of a shock to see him so different looking. Jason says Kelly Osbourne's whole head is different. So I was going to use that as an example, that not only Kelly, but her mom have like freakishly different faces. And so just saying, oh, it's plastic surgery. It doesn't make sense that people who have tons of money are going to go get their face ruined, right? Like I'm not looking to go ruin my face. I've got a pretty decent face, right? I might not be the best looking guy in the world, but I'm damn sure not the ugliest fella. And so if there's a chance I could ruin my face and look like a fucking ghoulish alien, a deformed person for the rest of my life, if there's even a slight chance, I'm not doing it. Even if the surgery's free, even if you're going to pay me to get the surgery, if there's a slight chance I'm going to lose the ability to use the muscles in my face and have like a dead face with paralysis or something, or like a freakishly looking, I'm not fucking doing it. So for me to think that a guy as intelligent as Jim, who's made as much money as Jim, using his face is going to take the chance at fucking up his face, not going to buy it, not believing it. And it doesn't make sense that Jim's just pulling a fast one. Like, what do you have to gain by tricking your own audience that you got plastic surgery or got replaced? It doesn't make sense, right? So the thing that makes the most sense to me is that Jim is now playing the role of someone else, and they have a replacement for Jim. So he doesn't have to be Jim anymore. Or perhaps Jim sold the rights to his name and likeness for an ungodly amount of money, and he gets to retire. So I've heard Jim sold his mansion in Hollywood that he's had for a long time. So perhaps Jim gets to go live on Celebrity Island, and he doesn't have to worry about being in the public eye or doing anything Jim related anymore. And perhaps that is a desirable thing. If you are a celebrity who's so famous that if you leave the house, you're going to get mobbed for autographs, and you can't even go out in public without being mobbed by tons of crowds. It might suck to be that famous for that long, that you might be willing to take a lump sum of money for Hollywood to take control of your likeness and image, and then you get to piss off on Celebrity Island. And then they have imposter Jim carrying out the duties now of Jim. And they can pay imposter Jim peanuts as to what the real Jim would charge. And they can tell imposter Jim exactly what to do, where to be, what to wear, what to say. So it makes sense to have an imposter that you can control every aspect of what they do, and there's not going to be any blowback. You don't have to pay them a ton of money. So perhaps it's worth the money to buy the name and rights to certain celebs and have the original fuck off and leave the public eye. I really couldn't tell you exactly what happens to the original. I just think it makes more sense for Jim to retire or be playing another role rather than him being killed or sacrificed and then replaced, because he was an actor in plenty of their movies and made the Hollywood beast system so much damn money. It seems like, of course, it would make sense they're still using him as an asset rather than sacrificing him or getting rid of him. Unless he decided to sell off his name and the rights to his character and his image for some ungodly amount of money. And now they have the imposter playing that role. And Jim's, happy to live out his life, no longer having to worry about being Jim, having to fulfill the responsibilities of being that character. I really don't know, but that makes more sense to me than him deforming his face. Jim retiring and them having an imposter makes more sense than Jim deciding to fucking get surgery and Botox on his face and look like that. Christian says, looks like Rourke, Mickey Rourke. I've heard people say it looks like Mickey Rourke and Val Kilmer had a love child. Definitely a little bit of Mickey Rourke-ish Val Kilmer vibes for sure. Looks like I had a super chat come in from Davey. Spicy Ramen says he did say he was retiring after the Sonic movies. Hey, if they can replace Dave Chappelle, then they can replace anybody, right? I read that one. Here's the one from Davey. He says, 500 plus in the chat. Smash the like button and subscribe for the #1 truther source right here on YouTube, Jake the Awake, with the best live chat peeps. Hey, I appreciate that, Davey. Thank you very much, sir. You are a longtime supporter of the channel. And Davey also makes content about all sorts of different stuff. So check out Davey's channel when you get a chance, and definitely hit the thumbs up button. All right, let me pull up another video for you guys, and we'll keep the party rolling. All right.
C'est très gentil. Oh. Bonsoir. Merci beaucoup. C'est très gentil.
Will the real Jim Carrey please stand up? The comedy legend showed off his French skills while accepting the César d'Honneur Lifetime Achievement Award at the 51st César Awards in Paris. The star of The Mask also sent tongues wagging after giving a rare red carpet interview, where some questioned his unrecognizable appearance, even going so far as to suggest it was actually an impersonator or even a clone. Dun dun dun. The 64-year-old Canadian-American actor has taken a significant step back from public life until the event on February 26th had everyone talking. On stage, he delivered an emotional speech where he honored his father and spoke entirely in the country's national language. Alrighty then. How was my French? Almost mediocre, right? He joked. But after the ceremony, he had fans scratching their heads, thanks to this Vanity Fair clip, which was reposted to X and has over 6 million views. In the clip, the Sonic the Hedgehog actor looked unrecognizable to some fans, who insisted he had plastic surgery or was replaced by an imposter. No way this is the real Jim, one person commented on the video. That's not him. Jim Carrey's always had brown eyes, prominent brown eyes. This is the worst impersonation ever, said another. Must have had a lot of work done to his face. Looks very different, another wrote. I'm no conspiracy theorist, but that's not Jim Carrey, said another. Makeup artist and celebrity impersonator Alexis Stone is now claiming, or trolling the gullible people on the internet, that they were in fact the fake Jim Carrey in Paris. Somebody stop him. Celebrities are just as baffled. Megan Fox wrote, I can't handle any more.
All right, so here you have run-of-the-mill AI videos basically reiterating what the mainstream media is saying. All right, so now we're going to listen to what a modern-day shillbag influencer has to say. So Penguin Zero, he's going to take the stance that it's definitely Jim Carrey. And he's going to go as far as to ridicule and shame anyone who thinks otherwise. So this makes me think for sure that Jim Carrey got replaced if they're going to go as far as to use Penguin Zero. Where the hell is it? Here it is. All right. So Penguin got how many views on this so far? Almost 2 million views in 2 days.
Goodness gracious, this whole fake Jim Carrey body double replacement thing is really gone kind of bonkers, huh? So Jim Carrey recently accepted an award, a very big, prestigious award in France. And while giving an interview, people were quick to notice that his appearance looked very different. Specifically, his face just seemed very off compared to how it had always looked. And instead of going with the obvious sane explanation of bad Botox and cosmetic work and plastic surgery, like,
see there? See how he started with that? Instead of going with the sane conclusion, right? This is where he starts shaming anyone who doesn't think that it's the same Jim Carrey with Botox. Instead of going with the obvious sane explanation, as in, if you don't agree with what he's saying, then you must be insane.
Bad Botox. And
that it's bad Botox. So you must be insane, according to Penguin Zero, if you don't go along with his explanation that it's just Jim Carrey with bad Botox.
And cosmetic work and plastic surgery, like everyone in Hollywood seems to do, and there are some botched surgeries that celebrities get that make them look like fucking facial animations from...
And of course, he pushes the notion that celebrities get these botched surgeries, which make them look so crazy and weird, right? Like I said earlier, it doesn't make sense for celebrities who've made a ton of money and can afford the best plastic surgery. It doesn't make sense why they would get this surgery that makes them look way worse, like a deformed alien. And I'm not going to chalk it up to, oh, well, they're just insane because they're so rich and live in Hollywood that they're just so out of touch that they just make this dumb decision to ruin their own face because they want to keep looking good for longer. No, I'm not buying that. That doesn't make any fucking sense that anybody who's built a career on their looks and their likeness is going to go to a surgeon that's going to make them look uglier and make everyone gasp. But that's exactly what Penguin Zero's pushing, that's what celebrities do.
007 GoldenEye on the N64, instead of using like...
And then he makes some fucking N64 reference for all the video game nerds to prove that he's a big fucking nerd and he's speaking to all the nerds out there. So he had to throw in his GoldenEye N64 reference.
Hollywood seems to do, and there are some botched surgeries that celebrities get that make them look like fucking facial animations from 007 GoldenEye on the N64. Instead of using like the logical explanation, people ran with something a little more extreme, that he had been replaced. They had fucking killed him. The deep state took him out back behind the barn and put him down because he was outspoken about like the establishment and stuff and how...
Okay, see how he said, oh, that he's been replaced. He's been taken out by the deep state out back and, and killed because he was outspoken about the establishment. See how he added all that horse shit onto it? So a perfectly reasonable notion is that that wasn't Jim Carrey. It was an imposter in a mask, which means he's been replaced. And being they've replaced other celebrities like Dave Chappelle, Eminem, and not that many people really seem to notice, right? So it wouldn't shock me that they've now replaced Jim Carrey, but he's trying to poo-poo on that notion and ridicule and shame you into believing that it's the same Jim and that the sane explanation, the rational conclusion is that he got Botox and plastic surgery. And then he says, oh, yeah, if you think that Jim Carrey got replaced, then what? Do you think he got killed by the deep state? He adds in this bullshit deep state angle to make the whole notion of him being replaced sound even more ridiculous. So he says, oh, if you think he's been replaced, what do you think? That the deep state just took him out back and killed him because he speaks out against the establishment? So he sets this premise that if you believe that he's been replaced, you must be stupid enough to think that it must have been the deep state that killed him. See, none of that is insinuated by Jim Carrey being replaced, right? But he's added that piece of bullshit to the mix to make it sound like anyone who thinks Jim Carrey's been replaced must think that the deep state killed him.
They took him out back behind the barn and put him down because he was outspoken about like the establishment and stuff and how like evil and rotten Hollywood is, and he's talked about it quite a bit. So they thought, you know, maybe they came in there and fucking Dr. Robotnik took care of him and now impersonates him here. So they went with this like body double theory. And then a makeup artist named Alexis Stone poured gasoline on that fire, making a bold claim that this was actually a stunt from Alexis Stone. That wasn't Jim Carrey. It was Alexis Stone in a mask. It was a big, you know, pulling the wool over everyone's eyes moment. And then even posted a picture of the mask that was supposed to be the irrefutable proof in the pudding, except this mask isn't real. It's an AI-generated image. It's fucking clearly AI.
And already I had a few different people show up and tell me that this whole thing's been solved, that it's Alexis Stone wearing this mask. Meanwhile, all these reports, even Penguin Zero here, are pointing out that that's a fucking AI mask. So anyone who ran with the Alexis Stone story, they got Penguin Zero here to debunk you and make you look like a fool.
But it didn't matter. That was enough for people to start taking the victory lap. We knew it. It wasn't Jim Carrey all along. Now we can only pray that he's safe. And we can only, with our fingers crossed and a banana squeezed deep between our butt cheeks, hope that Jim Carrey hasn't had his throat slit.
And then he had to mix in a banana in your butt cheeks. Like he had to mix in something in your ass. So I remember when this guy would report on P. Diddy, he would be like,
I'm really upset that P. Diddy didn't get like stiffer consequences for all the crimes and atrocities that he's committed. He literally was sticking big black dildos in people's asshole. And this all feels like we're figuratively having a big black dildo stuck deep within our anus. Right now, I feel like I had my asshole raped by a big black dildo at a P. Diddy party. I'm a cheap dime store Keanu Reeves knockoff. A bunch of neckbeards and guys who play video games all day long listen to me and Ask Mongold, and they believe everything we have to say, and all we do is reiterate what the mainstream narrative is. They basically paid me to reiterate what the mainstream narrative has already told you. So just in case any of the neckbeards need further instruction as what to think, that's what I'm here. I'm here to teach neckbeards what to think.
right?
It's like, oh, I mean, I guess I don't know why you would be so willing to just accept what I believe is pretty obviously an AI-generated picture of the mask. And also, if this really was an Alexis Stone stunt, it would be easily provable by having footage behind the scenes or pictures behind the scenes. But instead, the only proof was 2 photos of Jim Carrey at the event and then this AI mask. And
so they make Penguin Zero look reasonable by pointing out the fact that this Alexis Stone guy didn't provide any fucking proof. So I have to agree with Penguin here, but they're making Penguin look like he's the reasonable, sensible guy debunking this. But he also ridicules and shames anyone who thinks that Jim Carrey might have been replaced by an imposter wearing a mask. See how that works? So they have Penguin Zero here using his influence and his subscriber base, right, to influence the normies, corral them into believing it's just Jim Carrey with Botox.
People are like, I knew it. Can't argue with the facts right there. Watertight. And then it also came out today. It's been confirmed by both Jim Carrey's rep and the organizer here, like the head of it, confirming that that was actually Jim Carrey. He was even there with like his daughter, his family, like it really was Jim Carrey. So the truth of the matter was he just got bad plastic surgery done. He's had some bad Botox injected there. Like,
it really was really Jim Carrey for real. The real Jim Carrey with his real family. He had Botox and plastic surgery. Literally verbatim, forcing you into believing the narrative that that's the same old Jim with Botox. And you got to be a crazy moron to think that he got killed by the deep state.
It really was Jim Carrey. So the truth of the matter was he just got bad plastic surgery done. He's had some bad Botox injected there, like countless other Hollywood celebrities. It's not uncommon or unusual. This shit happens all the time. I can't wrap my head around why this one was so big. I guess because it is so.
So then he pushes that narrative that this happens with lots of other celebrities. And so they condition the public into thinking, oh yeah, if you're rich and you are in Hollywood and in the public eye, then you decide to get surgery to make yourself look like a deformed alien. No, doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense that anyone gets this sort of surgery that makes them look so radically different that even their own fans are like, oh, that's not the same person. No, doesn't make sense. Why would anybody who has all the money in the world to spend on plastic surgery, why would they get a surgery that makes them look worse? If there's even a chance that they could get botched surgery, they probably wouldn't choose to do it. So it makes more sense that they're being replaced, and the botched surgery is the excuse to cover up for the fact that they've been replaced. Decran4D says, yep, I'm crazy, but I think Carrey has played Biden. Dude, I think Carrey played Biden at least a couple times. The time where he walked up the stairs to the Air Force One plane and fell down, and it looked all comical. It looked like a long and lean version of Jim Carrey. And then, of course, there was that version of Joe Biden that looked like he was 7 feet tall, right? An obvious Joe Biden replacement. So I think that Joe Biden was played by Carrey at least a few times. And I think that Dana Carvey also played Joe Biden at least a handful of times. And I think they probably had several actors play Joe Biden. And I think they've even had AI Joe Biden address the country. But I also think that there's multiple Trumps. I think they have more than one Trump. And I think they've used AI Trumps. And I've shown you guys examples of AI Trump addressing us, right? Talking to the screen. I've shown you guys examples of Alex Jones being replaced. So celebrity replacement is nothing new on this channel. But I've never seen this many people talking about this subject at once. That's new. Never in all my time on YouTube have I seen this many people talking about any one celebrity being replaced as much so as people are talking about Jim Carrey being replaced. It's pretty crazy. I will admit that the amount of people talking about this is a bit shocking. So that's why I think they have these guys corralling people back into the normie way of thinking that it's the same old Jim with some Botox. Nice and easy. Simple conclusion to come to. It's nothing crazy. He wasn't killed by the deep state. He just got some Botox. See? So they have Mr. Penguin Zero here to push that narrative on you and then ridicule you and shame you, call you stupid if you think otherwise.
Like uncanny, and Jim Carrey has been like outspoken about like Hollywood norms and stuff. I guess it is odd that he of all people would have work done like that, especially like very noticeable work. That is peculiar, but it is something that happens in Hollywood all the time, and it sucks. I mean, but it is what it is. And the links people ran with it in like the most wacky ways were mind-boggling. I saw a viral post about a picture of Jim Carrey from 2006 versus Jim Carrey in 2026 saying, "What happened? This can't be the same guy." I was like, brother, what the fuck? Did you just blow in from Stupid Town? It's been 20 years. He's kind of old now.
What the fuck, brother? Did you just blow in from Stupid Town? Yeah, that line and the way he delivered it. It's almost as if Penguin Zero here was ordered to make this video, right? Yeah, Penguin, we're going to need you to make a video about Jim Carrey not being replaced. And we want you to refer to everybody who thinks that he has been replaced as insane. Tell them that they got on a bus to Stupid Town. We really want you to drive home the point that it's the same old Jim Carrey it always was. Just the way he's delivering these lines, this doesn't seem like he did all this of his own accord. It's almost like he was instructed to do this.
Jim Carrey in 2026 saying, "What happened? This can't be the same guy." I was like, brother, what the fuck? Did you just blow in from Stupid Town? It's been 20 years.
And so they use this example of people showing a side-by-side from Jim Carrey in 2006 to Jim Carrey in 2026. Well, what about this one right here? This is 2025 and 2026. The one on the left is from Jim Carrey's Instagram from Easter. So about exactly a year difference in these two photos here. So the one on the left is from Easter 2025. And then the one on the right is from the most recent appearance of Jim. So, brother, they look fucking different. They sound different. They fucking act different. So I didn't blow in from fucking Stupid Town. So he's acting like people comparing Jim Carrey from 2026 to 2006 Jim Carrey blew in from Stupid Town and that there's a 20-year difference. Yeah, well, there ain't a fucking 20-year difference right here. So, of course, he's not talking about this picture that I made, right? This is one that I made. So I took both these screenshots and stuck them side by side. But he's not talking about that. Very sneaky the way this guy is shaming and ridiculing people into believing what he believes.
He's kind of old now. He's getting older. And now he's like getting plastic surgery done. So yeah, he looks different. But even if he didn't have any work done, he's not going to look the same as he did 20 years ago. Nobody does. Like, what the fuck is happening here? Now, all cards on the table. I
mean, come on. Of course it's a real Jim. I mean, what are you, from Stupid Town? He didn't get replaced. He got older. Botox. Believe me. Believe me. Don't be stupid. Please believe me. Trying a little too hard there to ridicule us into believing you.
I think there probably have been a few instances where a very powerful person or celebrity has been swapped out for like a body double, a stunt.
He thinks there's been a few occasions where a powerful person's been swapped out. Now watch. He's going to sit here and say, okay, on maybe like one or two occasions ever in the history of humanity, they did do body doubles. But not this time. Watch. That's exactly what he's about to say.
Double like once or twice here and there, but probably not like a permanent switcheroo, but like maybe once or twice, when Howard Lutnick has been in the Oval Office giggling anytime Epstein's name has been brought up.
It happened once or twice when Epstein's name was brought up, you guys. So yeah, you can have a such thing as a body double, and they have used body doubles, but only like once or twice. Fuck this shill, dude. He's clearly been instructed to make this video. Like, if he really thought that the Jim Carrey replacement thing was stupid, he would just be like, that's stupid that anyone thinks that. And just leave it at that. But he's going out of his way to really shove this down our throat. That you have to be insane. You have to got on a bus in Stupid Town. You're completely crazy and irrational if you don't believe that this is the real Jim with Botox. Seems to me somebody told Penguin Zero that he must make this video, and he's fulfilling his obligation. Then he brings up Epstein, of course, like a total fucking shill.
Maybe it's actually Epstein in a Howard Lutnick skin suit, like that's the disguise and why he can't stop laughing every time that gets brought up. Maybe that's possible. But for something like this Jim Carrey situation, I think it's just so obviously Botox, because we've seen that kind of thing before where someone gets work done and it looks like they're fucking cell shaded out of Borderlands or something.
So now he's repeating himself for like the third time. It's Botox. We've seen other celebrities do this. I swear he said that like twice already, right? So now he's repeating this. So he's doing that fucking spell casting shit where you just keep repeating it. It's Botox. It's Botox. He had work done. Celebrities get work done all the time. Celebrities get work done all the time and then look different. Celebrities get work done because they're celebrities and that's what celebrities do. Botox, 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 right? He really wants to corral people into believing it's the same old Jim.
Thing, right? Like it does happen. And the way he was like talking and emoting during the interviews, there's no way a mask could do that. There's just absolutely no way. But
there's no way a mask could do that. So now he's acting like it's impossible that anybody could have been wearing a mask pretending to be Jim Carrey, when that's precisely exactly what the fuck it looked like. It looked like somebody pretending to be Jim Carrey in a mask. So he's saying there's no way it could be a mask. So if they have this guy Penguin Zero, who's for sure a shill, who pushes the mainstream narrative all the time, if they have him saying this, then that leads me to believe for sure it's an imposter in a mask. Seems like they've gone out of their way to corral the normies into accepting this nice, easy narrative that it's just Jim Carrey with some Botox. A little too much so, to where now I'm fucking rejecting that completely. Nope. You will not get me to accept that. Not now.
Maybe you're not convinced. Maybe you think that Jim Carrey's rep and the award organizer are in on the scheme from the nefarious puppet masters pulling the strings, trying to convince you that this is Jim Carrey when it's not. That's your prerogative at the end of the day. Anyway, I'll show you some stream clips where we were going over the interview and comparing things and then looking at the Alexis Stone post for the evidence. But I think one thing's very clear. Alexis Stone was just trying to suckle clout from this whole thing, from the virality of all of it. What do you think about that?
Any man with this many fucking toys and shit, like I can just see a bunch of stuff that's like grown man child type shit. You know what I mean? That like no real man should be into this shit. You know what I mean? Like I've got a small collection of like instruments. Like I've got 4 different basses and a guitar behind me here. But like I don't have a fucking, I have a small collection of like NES games from my childhood. So I have a little bit of old video games for nostalgia's sake, but I don't have like this entire collection that's going to like take up a whole wall of all this different fucking kids shit right here. It's one thing if you want to keep your old Nintendo and some old games or whatever, or some old thing from your childhood. But this much shit right here looks like you're like some avid collector of all this fucking childish horse shit. So yeah, he probably jizzes all over his toys. I agree, Davey.
Was just trying to suckle clout from this whole thing, from the virality of all of it. What do you think about the fake Jim Carrey? We talked about it a little bit. I don't think it's actually a fake Jim Carrey, but he had that classic Hollywood work done to him, and boy, howdy, did it not go well.
He had that classic Hollywood work done, and oh boy, did it not go well. Okay. Yeah, Jim Carrey, a very intelligent man who's definitely not stupid, right? Definitely not a stupid man to get to the position that he got to and make as much money as he did, right? And get all them roles, right? And do such a great job at getting so many people to laugh and enjoy his work over the years. This is not a stupid man. And we're to believe this guy who made all this money with his face and what he could do with his face, with the talents he had in his face and his facial muscles. We're to think that guy chose to ruin his own face to the point where people can't recognize him and don't think it's him. Not buying that. Like Jim's going to take the chance to ruin what he used to make all of his wealth. No fucking way. I don't believe it for a second. But that is what Penguin Zero is pushing. And he's pushing it as hard as he can. Repeating it.
But I truly don't think that's like a body double or a replacement. I think it looks too close. The big difference is the eyes, but I think that's just bad Botox. Here, I'll pull it up.
I mean, he said that he doesn't think that it's a replacement over and over in this video, and he's mentioned Botox like 5 times now.
Receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes, and I was like a novice, but I felt a lot of love, and I felt a lot of appreciation that I tried. Then I watched everybody like talking 1,000 miles an hour up there, receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead.
This isn't a whole interview, but it's from this clip here. It looks like porcelain skin, looks very uncanny. So people are speculating that this is a body double or Jim Carrey's been replaced. He kind of looks like the villain from Long Legs. Yeah. The big thing people point to are the eyes. Let me show you. Because if you compare the eyes here compared to like every other time, it's very different. But I truly just believe that's the result of bad Botox, because that is a very...
All right, so that's like the 6th fucking time he's mentioned Botox. Really cramming the fucking Botox narrative up our ass as hard as he can ram it up there.
Very real thing that can happen. So here's like older Jim Carrey eyes, and here's Jim Carrey during that interview.
And then he shows this example way off in the corner. Bro, why are you showing that fucking example way off in the corner like that, you piece of shit? Look how easy it is. The one on the right is a fucking imposter in a mask with an orange nose, and the eyes don't look like original Jim's eyes at all. They're not the right color. They're not the right shape. Just all wrong. But this motherfucker is going to point to this tiny corner and be like, look over here. See? It's the same. They look close enough. Must be Botox.
But that's just like a very real thing Botox does. People also said the eye color changed. Not really. I think he just has a lot more light in his eyes, so his eyes look lighter. I don't really think they've changed eye color or anything. Imagine your plastic surgery is so bad people think you got replaced. I know, man. Have you ever seen a good facelift? They always look like plastic figurines. That's because you only can notice the bad ones. So many celebrities have had plastic surgery and you just don't know it.
Oh, really? So you're telling me there's such good plastic surgery that you don't notice, but then there's this bad plastic surgery that makes celebrities look like deformed aliens? All right. And then these big names like Jim just happen to get the bad botched type deformed alien surgery rather than the good kind that people don't notice. Sure. Okay.
It's got to be reptilians, not stunt actor performers.
Now he's mixing in the notion of reptilians rather than it being, an imposter in a mask. He made it out like if you believe it's an imposter in a mask, then you must also believe in reptilians and that the deep state killed him.
Would always be reptilians, I suppose. That is always a feasible explanation. Look at Alexis Stone Instagram. They did a Jim Carrey mask that wasn't Jim himself. I don't believe that for a second. That sounds more like an easy marketing stunt. Let me see. Who was it? Alexis Stone?
All right. So there you go. They use Penguin Zero to ridicule and shame you into thinking that it's definitely Jim with some Botox. I mean, he fucking said it like 7 times in an 8-minute video. So that means for sure I don't believe that was Jim with Botox. For sure I don't believe that because Penguin Zero tried so hard to make me believe that I will never believe that now. Now I know for sure that ain't true. All right. And to the guy spamming the chat, stop spamming. Stop spamming. All right. So now let's move on to a few other dip celebrities that supposedly got botched surgery. I don't believe it. I really don't. So now we're going to look at Kelly and Sharon Osbourne. All right. You guys ready for this? Have you seen Kelly and Sharon Osbourne lately? Apparently, they both just got surgery, you guys. They just got the same surgery that Jim Carrey got, apparently.
Whoa. First of all,
Okay, you have to be a goddamn moron to think that this is Kelly Osbourne. Look at this, the shoulder fucking bones and stuff. Look at these, the shoulder setup, the long, slender body, the wig. That is not Kelly Osbourne. I don't care if anyone says, oh, she's got health issues or had surgery. I don't believe it. And I don't believe that this is Sharon either. Furthermore, I did a deep dive when Ozzy died into his death, and I proved to my satisfaction that Ozzy's final performance was done by Dana Strum, a close friend of his that helped him discover Randy Rhoads. So I believe they had an Ozzy imposter performing Ozzy's final concert, and I do not believe these are the same Osbournes that were on the show. Back when the Osbournes had their reality show, I don't believe these are the same two fucking people. Sorry, not buying it. Oh, well, according to Penguin Zero, people in Hollywood, you know, they just get surgery and they just get these bad botched surgeries and Botox. I don't buy it. I don't think that Sharon decided to do that to her face because she thinks it will make her look better. I don't think that Kelly decided to do that to her body and her face because she thinks it looks better. I don't believe it. I believe that that's the excuse they have set up so that if people like myself say they've been replaced, they can have this excuse ready that no, it's just surgery and Botox. I ain't buying it. I don't believe that people who've made as much money as these two here, they've made so much damn money and are so famous. I don't believe that they decide to ruin their own fucking looks like this. It looks like two individuals in prosthetics and masks. So Penguin Zero will push you the notion that, you know, rich people who are in Hollywood, they just make this decision to get surgery, and it just so happens that sometimes the surgery is bad and botched. Not buying it. Lemming in a shiny metal box with a very generous donation said, Mrs. Doubtfire looks more realistic than most of these freaks. Hello! You're for Janaya Doubtfire, dear, and I can yo cook a wicked cup of cocoa. Yeah, so if you didn't know that Robin Williams was playing the role of Mrs. Doubtfire, and they had him in that getup just walk past you looking like Mrs. Doubtfire, and you had never seen that movie and didn't know of Robin Williams, you would just think that that was a grandma. So I would say that the transformation from Robin Williams to Mrs. Doubtfire was so good that if I didn't know who Robin Williams was, right, and I was to see him in Miss Doubtfire form, I would just figure that's a grandma, right? You'd have to be up real damn close to maybe even have a shot at figuring out that that wasn't an old lady, right? And then, of course, Johnny Knoxville played the role of Bad Grandpa. So what I've noticed is turning a younger person into an older person, totally doable. Turning an old person into a young person, much harder. So, for instance, Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, when they did a commercial where they played their Wayne's World characters, and they hadn't played those characters in like 30 years. They look like old dudes with tons of makeup on to try and make them look a little younger, but they look like old dudes. So trying to make an old person look younger, much more difficult than making a young person look older. So it makes more sense to take a Robin Williams and make him an older lady, or a Johnny Knoxville and make him an old grandpa, than it would to take a grandpa and try and turn him into Johnny Knoxville, or try and take an old lady and make an old lady look as best you can as Robin Williams. Way harder to do the opposite. You see what I'm saying? So transforming a person into an older person is typically what they're going to do with these masks. And then if you see them change their look dramatically, like this version of Kelly and Sharon here, to me it looks so different that I just don't believe that this was Kelly Osbourne that we started with, right? Like, this is just too much. Like, they might be able to trick some sheeple into thinking Kelly surgically did this and took Ozempic or whatever, but you won't get me to buy that. I don't believe that celebrities who've made this much money and are this much famous are choosing to do that to their own face. And the fact that Penguin Zero is pushing that notion that that's what celebrities totally like to do, and they totally do it all the time, makes me not believe it even more. Thank you very much, Lemming in a Shiny Metal Box. I really appreciate the super chat donation. Very generous of you, sir. All right, and I got another super chat from Nate X, the original. He said, the blonde looks like Perry Farrell. It just doesn't look like Kelly, right? These shoulder bones right here in the bone structure, it doesn't fit Ozzy and Sharon's DNA. You can't take Sharon and Ozzy's DNA and then fucking end up with this. No matter how much surgery and Ozempic you give a person, I just don't see Sharon and Ozzy's DNA in there. Not buying it. But see, this just goes to show you with other celebrities, people just accepted it. People were just like, oh, I guess that's what Kelly looks like now. So people weren't freaking out over Kelly and Sharon saying, oh my God, they got replaced. They're just like, oh, I guess they just deformed their face with bad surgery. So people are quick to accept this surgery excuse. They might not be as quick to accept it with Jim Carrey, but if they're forced to accept it by the mainstream media, ensuring them that that's for sure Jim, and Penguin Zero shaming them into believing it's for sure Jim, then that's obviously what they want the public to believe, is that if a celebrity looks radically different, just assume it's Botox and surgery. Decran says Hollywood is full of trans. The one on the left, yeah, a man. Yeah, definitely not female shoulders here. The body frame is not feminine at all. Very masculine body frame there. And I would argue that Kelly didn't look that masculine before, right? She was never the most feminine girl, but she never had that body style either, ever. All right, so let's take a look at another celebrity that changed dramatically and people just accepted it. Simon Cowell. So I think it was, I don't know, a year ago, maybe a year and a half or whenever, Simon Cowell got changed from this version to this new version that looks completely different. And so when Simon Cowell first came out looking completely different, people were like, oh my God, is that really Simon? So there were different reports. Simon, is that you? Simon shows off his radical new look, and people are saying he looks unrecognizable. There wasn't this outcry like with Jim Carrey that he got replaced. Instead, the public is just like, oh, well, I guess he got surgery. I guess that's how he looks now. So we're to believe Simon, who's not a bad looking fella, right? Simon was never an ugly dude. And we're to believe Simon chose to make himself look worse? Simon chose to get this surgery? I don't buy it. See, Simon's another guy that he made so much money with his look, and he's intelligent enough that I don't think there's any world where he decides to do this to his own face. It makes more sense that perhaps Simon sold off his name and likeness, and now the imposter carries on. Perhaps Simon got tired of having to be a host on American Idol and do all this stupid shit that made him famous. Perhaps he took a payment to no longer be Simon, and then they wheeled out this imposter, and people just accepted the imposter as the new Simon. So if they accept the new Simon and the new Kelly Osbourne and the new Sharon Osbourne, even though they look freakishly different, then they're eventually going to accept the new Jim Carrey. So if Jim Carrey keeps looking the way he does now, or keeps getting worse looking, more freakish looking over time, then we'll know that old Jim is definitely gone, and they're just going to try and get you to believe that now he just looks different because of some work he had done on his face. Just like they got people to believe that this is the original fucking Simon, which I don't believe for a second. The original Simon was not a bad looking fella at all, right? Most women would say Simon was a pretty good looking guy. So he would have no reason to get this fucking weird surgery where it didn't make him look any better, right? So I believe plenty of celebrities have been replaced. And I've shown many examples of Dave Chappelle being replaced, Eminem being replaced, Alex Jones being replaced, and Beyonce being replaced, Britney Spears being replaced. The new version of Britney Spears, or the version they have on TikTok, dancing like a freak, supposedly being held captive in some guy's mansion. I don't believe that's the same girl that we started with. I believe there were several different versions of Britney. And you know what? There may have been several different versions of Jim Carrey. If you go back and look at the old pics, a lot of different versions of Jim, so much so that maybe they've had 3 or 4 different Jims by now. Maybe this is just the most different Jim that they've served up. So there you go. I believe they are replacing celebrities, and I believe Jim is a casualty of celebrity replacement. And I think it's most likely the real Jim, the original Jim, is still alive, and he's either playing another role or he's retired. So I don't think Jim is been sacrificed or killed or taken out. Jim is a club member. He's in the big Hollywood club. He's made a ton of money for the Hollywood beast system. So they're either still using Jim to play some other role or multiple other roles, or perhaps Jim is now retired and they have imposter Jim, who's now going to take on the role of Jim, whether you like it or not. So that's what I am going to conclude, is that Jim has indeed been replaced. And they got Penguin Zero there and the mainstream media there to tell you it's the same old Jim with Botox. So I definitely don't believe that. And I don't believe that it was Alexis Stone in that AI mask. So unless Alexis Stone comes out and shows us the whole process of him becoming imposter Jim, I don't believe that story either. So I'm going to stick with what I originally said. Jim Carrey's been replaced. I don't know what happened to the original Jim. There's no way for me to know. I wish I knew. Just like I wish I knew what happened to the original Dave Chappelle. So we have to consider not all celebrities are equal. Maybe Dave Chappelle was taken out, but maybe Jim gets to retire. I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you if certain celebs maybe die unexpectedly and then they get replaced by an imposter. So there's the case of Paul McCartney supposedly dying unexpectedly in a car wreck. So then they replaced him with an imposter to keep the Beatles money train rolling. So we have to consider perhaps Jim died, but I would say most likely he's still alive. If I was to guess, original Jim's still alive, probably still being used in some way or another, maybe just in a different role. And if not, then maybe he's hanging out on Celebrity Island right now and he no longer has to be Jim Carrey. And maybe he's laughing his ass off at this imposter version of himself. Sadly, there is no way to know. That's one of the shitty things about celebrities being replaced is we just don't know for sure what happens to them, right? Mike 6 says shape-shifting. He's a bloody shape-shifting reptilian Orcon. And bloody Penguin Zero. He's doing damage control. On behalf of the shape-shifting Orcon, known as Jim Carrey, who also plays the role of Jake the Awake. That's why Jake the Awake's doing damage control as well, saying that it's an imposter in a mask, when really Jake the Awake has been Jim Carrey all along. That's right, you guys. I'm a shape-shifting Archon, and I've been Jim Carrey all along. That's the real truth. All right. So what do you guys think? Maria Walker said, we've allegedly got a great comet coming April 26, like the one that caused the New Madrid earthquakes in 1811. Yeah, they say all sorts of stupid shit. You know, they said they were going to go back to the moon, and then they recently canceled that mission. I don't know if you guys heard, they were talking about going back to the moon, but they were talking about instead of landing on the moon, just doing a flyby. And they were like, oh, we're going to have the first African-American and the first woman get as close as possible to the moon without landing on it. And so I was making fun of the fact that they can't go back to the moon, but they're talking about going back to the moon without having to land on it. But they just recently canceled their flyby mission of the moon. So they can't even pretend to fly by the moon. Instead, they're just going to fucking cancel it, push it back for another day. So they can just keep kicking the can down the road with their fake space missions back to the moon. And they can report on some deadly comet that could hit next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. They can just keep milking that story. And then, of course, it never actually happens. Or they could even have a staged event where they fake a comet hitting, right? I wouldn't put that past them to one day, you know, blow a hole in the ground somewhere and then say that it was a comet, or show us some AI bullshit on screen and say that it was a comet. All right, so my conclusion, y'all, with this Jim Carrey thing and the reason why they let it go as viral as it did, I think that they want to condition people to where anytime they see a celebrity looking radically different, they want to condition you into thinking that it's plastic surgery and or Botox and not that they're replaced. So they're quick to dismiss the replacement theory and quick to ensure that it's definitely the real Jim. So they made it obvious, and then they ran all this damage control to get everyone on board with this conclusion that it's definitely Jim, but he got some work done on his face. So I think that's conditioning to where any other celebrities from now on that you see looking radically different, don't go assuming they got replaced. Instead, assume that it's plastic surgery. So there you go, guys. There's my deep dive into the Jim Carrey replacement theory. I don't think it's a clone. I think it's an imposter wearing a mask. And I don't know exactly who it is. Maybe it's somebody well known. Maybe it's not. Who knows? There's no way for me to know for sure right now, but we'll keep our eyes open and we'll see what happens next time Jim Carrey makes an appearance. So if next time Jim Carrey makes an appearance, he looks even more different, then we'll know old Jim Carrey's gone, right? Janet Dilby says, maybe it's Bill Gates being the new Jim. Laugh my freaking ass off. Well, Bill Gates got replaced. So the old Bill Gates pictures from like 20 years ago versus the new version of Bill Gates looks different. Furthermore, Melinda Gates also got replaced because Melinda Gates at one point was being played by, oh my God, it just left my brain. There was a male actor, Kevin Kline. So Kevin Kline, a male actor, was pretending to be Melinda Gates for a while, just before Bill Gates and Melinda got divorced. Melinda Gates was being played by Kevin Kline. So I've actually done content on Bill Gates being replaced and Melinda Gates being replaced by Kevin Kline. So go back and check those videos out on my channel if you haven't seen those. So yeah, my channel's been talking about celebrity replacement theory for years, and it's quite the niche topic. So to see all these different YouTube channels suddenly talking about stuff that I talk about was pretty crazy. I wasn't used to seeing so many different channels reporting on the same shit that I talk about. But it looks as though all the mainstream outlets are telling people that it's the same old Jim. So they're quick to try and debunk anyone claiming that it was an imposter in a mask, which makes me think for sure it was an imposter in a mask. All right. Well, looks like I got a couple super chats that came in. And I won't keep you guys much longer tonight. I pretty much got through all the Jim Carrey stuff that I wanted to get through tonight. And that was all I had. So I won't keep you guys too long tonight. Ian Mercurio says, land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Hey, take it over, go to the moon. Then you know that we come back soon. Rove to the top, rove down low. We rove so much we got no place to rove. We land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. And yes, my friend, we will come back soon. We take it over, we rove to the moon. And yes, you know that we come back soon. We rove to the left, rove to the right, cause beach you know that we rove all night. We land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. And yes, my friend, we will come back soon. We take it over, rove to the moon. Then you know that we come back soon. Rove to the north, rove to the south. We rove right up inside of your mouth. We land on the moon, we land on the moon. Land on the moon, land on the moon. Land on the moon, we land on the moon. And yes, my friend, we will come back soon. Say row, row, row. Everybody say row, row, row. Oh, come on, my friend. Row, row, row. Everybody now. Row, row, row. Sing it now, now. Row, row, row. Row, 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 row. Rover. Row, row, row. Row, 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 row. Row. There you go. Land on the moon. Good times. All right. We got another one from Davey D from the LaFleur Network. Said, can we get Q and Fee and Jaron hate watching? A piece of shit. I am busy fantasizing about having gay sex with Flatsoid. That is because I am obsessed with gay sex and Flatsoid. Piece of shit.
Hey guy, Jaren here. So I got a real job because all the flat earthers ditched me and nobody wants to watch me anymore. That's because I tell the truth. I'm a real truther, you guys. I'm Jaren. I'm the only real truther. I went to Antarctica and sucked Will Duffy off and saw the sun for 24 hours. So guys, if you think the earth is flat, you are retarded. I'm not a flat earther anymore. I'm Jaren. And I don't believe in the moon landing being fake anymore. I believe the moon landing was real, you guys. Because I'm the only real truther. I'm Jaren.
Yeah, piece of shit. And I agree with Jaren that the earth is a globe now. And I also agree with Jaren that the moon landing was a real piece of shit. There you go. Q and Fee and Jaren sitting in a tree. Fucking. Q and Fee and Jaren sitting in a tree. Fucking. First comes love, then comes gay marriage, then comes butt sex in my baby carriage. All right. Getting carried away here. They probably do hate watch me. There's a lot of haters who like to hate watch me, and they get jealous of how much fun we have here. And they get super jealous when they see all the super chat love coming in, and they see everyone laughing and having fun and me reading the super chats. It just pisses them off to no end. They wish that they had the same thing, but they don't, and they never will. Gotta love it. I know I do. All right. Well, all right, guys. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me on a wacky, wild Wake 'em Up Wednesday. That was basically all I had for you. It was the Jim Carrey replacement deep dive. And then, of course, I'm going to be paying attention for the next time Jim Carrey does a public appearance, whether he goes back to looking like the old Jim or whether he looks the same as he does now or whether he looks even more different. So let's all pay attention to how this develops, and then we'll see if we can't add more to this story in the future. And Holden with a donation says, "Hey, Jake, can I come on and sing my short song?" Well, I'm about to wrap it up here in a second, but all right. I'll post the link up here, and you can come on and sing your song just before we end the stream. One sec. Let me grab the link. All right, Holden. You can come on and sing your short song. And then we'll wrap it up for tonight. This ought to be fun. I have no idea what he's going to sing. All right, I posted the link in chat, bro. It looks like Holden has arrived. Holden! 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 Not hearing you, buddy.
How are you,
Holden.
Jake?
There he is.
I'm here. I'm here. How's your day, Jake?
Good, man. I've been wanting to talk about this Jim Carrey shit for a few days, and so I had to spend some time, looking into this Alexis Stone shit. This, and what the mainstream's saying and whatever. So it's good to finally do this stream. I've been wanting to do this for a couple days now. It's like I've been thinking about like this stream for a few days, and so to finally get it done felt good.
Yes, it
All right.
did. Hey,
So
Jake, Jake, before I sing, is it okay if I show something too?
What do you want to show?
So I was talking to Jonna and Rose actually about this. You know, we sometimes talk with her friend or her neighbor, Joseph. And so we were talking about, you know, the fake phony politicians, and everyone kept talking about this one guy. Like all the sheeple kept talking about this one guy. And I'm like, okay, he's a nobody. Who cares? And then I looked at him and I thought, this looks like a politician from the 1960s. Could they be wheeling him out to potentially be not just a big candidate, but maybe the next president on the Democrat side? And so I want to see what you think about this. I just shared my screen. There's this candidate that looks a lot like RFK Sr. His name is James Tallarico. And they've been having him like be the anti-woke Democrat, like the one that criticizes the woke. I feel like they're going to do something with this guy. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of like it's like I can sense there's something with him and that they're going to push him further than expected.
I haven't heard of him.
They
but
could even have him be the first Democrat.
He kind of looks like Charlie a little bit. Kind of looks like Kirk a little bit.
That too, maybe. I could see him being the first Texas since the 80s and then have him go to win the presidency. I could see that maybe happening. And so I wanted your input on that. He looks a lot.
I haven't heard of this guy, so I don't know anything about him whatsoever. This is the first I've heard or seen of him. So
I didn't either.
So I
didn't either until I looked him up, and I'm like, no, I didn't know this guy either. And the first second I saw him, I'm like, this guy looks like a Kennedy. There's something here. And that clicked in my mind the second I saw him. I'm like, oh, now I know what everyone's talking about.
Interesting. Well, hey, I'll tell you what. Go ahead and sing your song real quick, and then we'll wrap it up here because I got to take my dog out for a walk and eat some food. So,
okay.
Go ahead and sing what you want to sing, and we'll wrap up the stream.
Okay. All righty. You and T and fat started sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. You and T and fat started sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. One day he was friends with us, stabbed us in the back instantly. He made a ton of videos of that door like a gay lover he is. Yeah, he even made a video called Life Youth with that. So it's disturbing, and the worst part is flights don't get less than 500 views per day. You and P and fat start sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. You and P and fat start sitting in a tree. K-I-S-S-I-N-G. K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
That was incredible. Everybody give it up for Holden singing his song about Q and P and Flatzoid. All right.
Hey, Jake.
Yes.
one more thing.
Uh-huh.
I know Jonna told you about it. But I wanted to make sure you knew. I used part of your like a 2-minute clip from one of your members only videos to debunk Eric Dubé last week.
It's fine, bro. I didn't care at all. When Jonna sent me that, I was like, why would I care? It's no big deal. I'm not gonna like get mad at you for using my clip to
Well, I know. And I made sure to give you credit. And not only did I want to debunk Dubé because I see him, starting to get some more views, I also wanted to do it to stab Q and Fee in the back, get, after what he did to us. And it's like, well, you keep talking about Flatzoid, keep making videos about him. Oh, by the way, I saw that he deleted one of them. I kept it because it shows some, lately, he's been making videos of Flatzoid. He literally did this 2 days in a row where all it is Flatzoid licking his tongue like some gay weirdo.
Let's not give
and doing songs.
Let's not give him any promotion. I don't keep up on him anymore.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. He's terrible.
He's not a part of my life at all. So we'll just go ahead and forget about him.
Can I do one more thing?
What do you want to do?
I want to do an impression of him real quick.
I'll tell you
Is
what.
that okay?
How about you tell people to go over to your channel, and then when you do because you do a stream after my stream ends. So why don't you promote your stream and then get people to listen to you do that impression over on your stream? Okay.
Okay. So
go ahead.
Over on Truther6242, I will be starting here. Yes, I'm going to do that right now. I'm actually going to get the thing ready while I promote it so I can give everyone the link. All right, let's see here. Today is March the 4th, 2026. That was a little goofy of me.
So that's Holden's channel, and he does a stream.
So, Jake, I'm hoping you had a good week.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm glad to hear it. And then sometimes I'll do impressions, kind of like Jake. Although I do a couple of them, I did want you to attempt to do a couple of them maybe next week because I know you got to go here in a minute. But
all right, so there you go. That's
maybe
Holden's
next week
channel, and he's doing a live stream right when mine ends. It's the Jake the Awake after party stream, and he runs it every week. So go check out Holden's channel over there and check out his after party stream if that sounds like some fun. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up now, all right?
All righty. Hey, hopefully you come watch.
I'll when I walk my dog,
I do have something for you. I'm trying to think. Okay. I was gonna say I had something for you on a I forgot. Oh yeah. I'll tell you, I'll email you about it. That's what it was gonna be.
When I go for a walk, I'll pull up your stream on my phone. All right. I'll drop in for a second. All right,
Jake. Hey, thank you very much for letting me on.
Thanks for the
You have a good rest of your night.
Thanks for coming on to sing, Holden. All right, there you go, Holden, singing a song and talking about some shit. All right, with that said, I'm getting tired and hungry, and my puppy here, he wants to go for a walk, so we're going to go do all that stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. Thank you to everyone who was here. I'm going to go back and watch the replay later, and I'll see everyone who commented. I always, when I watch the replay, I read all the comments so I can see who was here and who said what. So I will be reading everyone's comments tonight. And then extra big thank yous to all those who sent super chats. We had A lot of support tonight. I can't thank you guys enough for the super chat support. So thanks again to everybody who donated. You guys are awesome. So until next time, this is your favorite comedian and mine, Jake the Awake, signing out. Peace out. Much love. Good night. And bye-bye.